Hello, everybody, and welcome to an impromptu return of the Movie Minds podcast. I am Joe,
And I'm Brad.
and today we're going to sort of do a reintroduction, something we had kind of talked about doing last year, but we didn't really do it because we've been just kind of slowly building this. And we thought, hey, for each other and kind of for anybody that wants to listen, we like to review different kinds of movies and discuss them. We thought we might introduce some movies we like to kind of talk a little bit about our movie tastes, movies we connect to, and just kind of things we look for in particular films for different reasons. And so, what Brad and I decided to do is pick certain different movies, not necessarily our favorites, but just things that we thought might represent us or just things that we like about certain films. So, I did the introduction, which means I'm gonna, force Brad to do the
Hmm.
first movie. What you got
Okay.
for us, Brad?
All right, good. So what I did, I told you, Joe, what I did was I got 10 DVDs
Mhm.
that I have on hand. So I'm going to show the DVD and talk about the movie. So again, this isn't a like top 10 greatest movies because there's some really good movies that I don't have or I haven't included, but these are 10 movies. Actually, technically, and I'll show you why. I think it's 12 because three of them go together. Um,
Oh,
So you'll see when I get there. So I'm just going to do these in no particular order. So these are real, I think these are really good movies, accessible movies for the most part,
hmm.
and it should be, across the spectrum. So the first one I'm going to pick, I'll just load it up here, Taxi Driver,
Ooh.
which we talked about in person before. Martin Scorsese, of course, Robert De Niro, um, yeah, the whole thing. So this is a really Jodie Foster, Sybil Shepherd, Harvey Keitel, Peter Boyle. So it's full of stars, a very young Jodie Foster. And this movie is probably my favorite Scorsese movie. Um that's kind of tough. He's got a few that's tough, but this one again I think the story is really gritty. It's not a happy movie. It's pretty dark, but I really love the cinematography, the character, the character development there. Um yeah, I mean Robert De Niro is awesome in this and everybody all around. So it's like really gritty, really dark. But it works. There's a lot of movies that are like that that I think don't work. But you have a really good character analysis of someone who is completely detached from society and almost has a kind of innocent naivete about him, but then, things don't turn out so hot. So a lot of people have seen Taxi Driver, but if you haven't, I'm not gonna tell the whole thing. But this is a movie that's easy to find. You can find a lot of times on Amazon Prime. You can find it, different places, so it's accessible. I suggest it again, not for children. Very violent movie,
Probably not.
um, of course. And again, I'll just wrap it up. Robert De Niro as Travis Bickle in this movie is, I think, I don't know if I want to say it's about, it's probably, in my opinion, the best. I don't know. I'm not saying Robert De Niro peaked, but anyway, it's really good. Robert De Niro is really good in that. He's really good in that.
No.
No. Of course, yeah, but that's Taxi Driver. Again, no particular order. I'll just start with that one. 1976, Martin Scorsese. There you go.
Well, great first pick, Brad, and I'm sure this will go on longer than we expect, and you'll have to try to keep me from going on to tangents. I guess I've decided a quick addition to the format. We can make a quick comment if we've seen the movie or not, or thoughts or interest,
Okay, yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Great pick. I like it. Very great movie. We talked about it recently. I think it was a request of one of the movies I think your wife actually wanted us to talk about, so maybe we can get that on
Hmm.
the list soon. Yeah, I love the grittiness of it, the cinematography, that kind of like really dark, grim noir of the monologues and everything, the music. No, very good. I don't know if it's my favorite Scorsese, mostly because I have an affinity, as you know, for like mafia stuff and gangster stuff. So I do love Goodfellas and things like that. But Taxi Driver is very good, definitely. We'll have to talk about that one. Um, I guess it's my turn, and I will say. I should have done what you did and just kind of looked through stuff I had. That might have been slightly more interesting. So if you let me edit this, I'll just have to get like little images of my
Oh, that would
movies.
be
But
cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
more work for me, I guess. But that's fine. I like to practice my editing anyway.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah.
so what I did, a little backstory is a couple years ago on my channel, a couple of my friends got together and we just kind of all talked about our favorite movies and did like a big countdown. We just sat on our top 50. So from a couple of years ago, this is my top 50 document, and I kind of looked through it and said, all right, well, this speaks to me tonight for some reason. I'll talk about this one. And I will say, in case we ever do it, I didn't pick anything for my top 10. So none of
Mm.
these are my favorite favorites, but these are still upper echelon for me. So the first one that I picked is actually Unbreakable from 2000 with Bruce Willis. In in my humble opinion, the best M Night Shyamalan movie by far. He may have peaked early. Some people think. Um, no, but as far as why I like that movie, I think well, I love superhero stuff. I love comic book stuff, and I think the movie was very ahead of its time before a lot of the superhero movies became rather big. But I like the fact that it really tells an original version of it. It's very serious. I think Bruce Willis has a great performance in it. I think Samuel L. Jackson also has a really good performance, and I think a lot of the things that Shyamalan does really well in that are kind of just some of my favorite things that I look for in a film. Like I think the cinematography is great. I love his use of color in that. His I forget the name of the cinematographer he worked with, but there's a guy he worked with at a couple of his movies that I think did a really good job. The score is great for all those emotional beats and kind of very simple, grounded story, but really big and epic, and it's just really sharp. So I always really liked Unbreakable.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think I tend to agree with you. That's probably M. Night Shyamalan's best movie. I really like Unbreakable as well. Um, yeah, I'm trying to run through because I don't want to get off into other of his movies. There's so,
That's
but
okay.
anyway, yeah. So that's cool. Unbreakable. Yeah, again, like we said, this is not some of these movies I might put in my top 10 maybe, but it's not necessarily that. The next one I'm gonna go with is the Seventh Seal
Ooh.
by Ingmar Bergman, Swedish movie. So for those who haven't seen Ingmar Bergman, I also have another of his movies I really like called The Emigrants.
Hmm.
This is Max von Sydow, and this is a really awesome movie. I saw it for the first time when I was a kid, and I just loved it. So again, this is about a knight returning from the Crusades, and he's struggling with nihilism, questioning the existence of God, his own purpose, and he has a series of conversations with death personified. And then he meets a traveling band, a troupe of performers, and they travel together towards this climax where he's going to have this kind of meeting with death at the end. And will God reveal himself or not? Um, it's again, it's in black and white, so it's kind of considered I guess it's what you would consider like an art film. Definitely kind of, in that genre. But anyway, yeah, I really like it. I liked it when I was a kid, and I've probably seen it 6 or 7 times, maybe something like that. I probably watched it again like a year or two ago, and I just really like it. I always like Max von Sydow. He's in a lot of good things, and it's a cool movie. The motif of the night and death, and there's an apparition of the Virgin Mary, and there's questions of God, and it takes place also during the Black Plague. So you see the penitents coming through, the death that's happening. So anyway, The Seventh Seal is the number two movie I'm going to talk about.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. No, that's another good pick, another classic. I like the fact you have the Criterion edition, by the way.
Oh
Very
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Very nice. Yes, look at all the
The
special
Snavi,
features.
yeah. I was
Yes,
like, I got to
yes,
get that one now.
only the highest
Yeah.
quality films.
Oh, I
Yes.
didn't notice it was the Criterion.
Yeah, yeah, sure,
Oh, you
sure.
don't have the Criterion. You got the Target 2 4 pack. You
The,
remember the two? You get two movies in
oh,
one.
yeah. What would the other side of the Seventh
Well, the
Seal two
funny
pack
thing, I have a few of those still because one of the movies would be really good, and the other one would be basically a dog turd that they hooked to it. So it
be?
would be like, I
True.
don't know, it would be like the seventh. I don't know what would it be like the seventh seal, and then like over the top. It was on the.
Oh, it's so random. Oh man, that's I
Anyway,
don't
okay.
Like, yeah, but no, that's a good pick. I only saw that movie once. I think I saw it when I was a teenager, and I liked it. I remember thinking the concept of just a man literally talking to death personified is just really cool. And obviously that film has been parodied and kind of
Yeah, yeah,
commented on. Bill and
yeah.
Ted, of course, most famously.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah. I should have
returns
mentioned
in
Bill and Ted. Yeah.
Bogus Journey, I think. But yeah, no, good choice. I'd love to watch that again because I haven't seen that one in a long time. But that's another good pick. Let's see, what's my number two? Oh, the second one I'm talking about is another pretty well-known film, mostly because it's just been on our mind in this household for a while, and that is the 1968 film Planet of the Apes.
Oh,
Because yeah, it's like one of my wife's favorite movies, one of my favorite movies, and I don't know, just the last couple of years, I've been drawn back into all the ape stuff, and
yeah,
I didn't realize that Planet of the Apes really is like one of the big sci-fi franchises, even though it's not really talked about that much. It's kind of up there,
hmm,
and had a bit of resurgence. But no, just the original Planet of the Apes movie is just such well done, cerebral science fiction, and there's a lot of great commentary on just really it's just another commentary on things like racism and prejudice, but it's also kind of cautionary stuff for mankind to not destroy the world, stuff like that. The twist, of course, is the great one of the great spoiled twists of all time. It's also just got so many iconic lines. The I love movies with great practical effects and makeup. It's also for me, it's my perfect combo of sci-fi. It's why I like old Twilight Zone and Star Trek and stuff like that, because it's very smart, but it's also kind of cheesy, and I kind of like
yeah,
that balance.
yeah,
It's kind of scary, but it's also kind of funny. So it's a good balance for me. I enjoy Planet of the Apes a lot, and it's a movie I've liked since I was a kid, and it still holds up and is very rewatchable to this day.
yeah. That's a good pick. Yeah, like Planet of the Apes. I think I rewatched that. What was it last year? I was sick, and so I started watching it. I think I got through to I forget the order of it. There's a Return of the Planet of the Apes, and then
There's like Planet of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Escape from the Planet of the Apes, uh, shoot, R- Rise the Planet of the Apes or
yeah,
Conquest, something like that. There's like five of them.
yeah. I think I saw. I was sick, and I saw three of them. But yeah,
You
that's a
were
cool
sick,
pick.
and then after you
Yeah,
watched it, you started seeing ape people
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. Uh, all right. Okay. I'm gonna keep moving here. I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
So I told you, Joe, I think, but yeah, before we started recording, I found that I have like
Mhm.
five of these are not American movies.
Yeah, all
So
porn stuff is that.
Seven Seals not, it's Swedish. The next one's not. This is actually made in Israel. So this is one
Mm.
less likely maybe to hear of. It's called Ush Pizzin. Let me bring that in here. Ush Pizzin. So this movie,
Mhm.
Ush Pizzin in Arabic. Yeah, you can find it there. Yeah, Arabic, Aramaic, excuse me, means the guests. So I really like this movie. So the title characters, these are two Hasidic Jews. They live in Hasidic quarter of Jerusalem, and it's a very i- it's got a very happy ending. Like it's a very
Oh.
heartwarming movie. It's a very good story about accepting others and having faith and reconciliation. It's very good. Like it's good for
Hmm.
the whole family. Now, some people may be turned off again. It's subtitles because it's in Hebrew, but
Ah.
it's actually a really good movie. I saw it the first time a few years ago. I actually so I bought it, of
Huh.
course, after I saw it, and I thought, I'll show this because you know sometimes you find movies like this that you might not be likely to find, and it's a
Mhm.
really good movie. Like really good. Like you get into the characters here. You see they're holding this citron, looks like a lemon. There's a reason for that, but
Oh, okay.
um, you could probably find it somewhere if you want to watch it. But that's Ush Pizzin. Um,
Cool.
I'd say who filmed it. I'd say the director and the actors, but nobody knows who they are. So unless you're an Israeli, probably you don't know.
I never heard of that one. When was that one made?
That's what I was looking on the back. I want to say like 2000. There's like a sticker over the thing here.
Of course, it's a mystery.
2010 or something.
Oh, okay.
Dude, why can't I find it? Anyway,
That's what the internet's for.
you know what? This is one of those too that I bought
The
when they used
bootleg
to
version.
have like movie when they used to have like movie rental stores.
Oh, what are those?
And well, it was going out of business for the last, it was going
Uh,
out of business, so I found it in there.
mhm.
And I don't know, probably like early 2000s.
Huh.
Why
Okay.
can't I not find? But anyway, yeah, it's a New Line movie, New Line Entertainment. But anyway, it's a good movie. Ush Pizza there.
Cool. Yeah, no, don't know that one. All right. Let's see, my turn. Moving right along. Mine is a little more, I think, generally more mainstream than yours. This obscure film I'm going to talk about next is called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Another high art film. No, but
No.
I jest. But here's the thing. Um, I was of course a Ninja Turtles fan as a younger kid, but uh, I never, as much as I liked the franchise, for me, nothing in the entire echelon of related Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle things, I think can be matched to that film because it is just. No, It's surprising. I think we've talked about this one. It's really good, and I feel like it has no right to be as good as it is because
Mm-hmm.
it's so silly, but it's once again it's that great balance of it's a silly concept, but it takes itself so seriously, and the characters are likable, and you got these guys they are working out so hard in these heavy suits and the animatronics, but they're pulling off great fight choreography, and there's a really great theme and message about fatherhood and belonging and family. There's actually kind of almost a Eastern spiritual component to it, which is pretty cool. It's quite moving and funny, and the Shredder's a great villain. It's one of
Mm,
those like a classic. It's very, very much of its time, but I can watch that movie anytime and it makes me feel good every
yeah.
time. It's
Yeah.
it's a good film, you know.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that was the first movie I saw in the theaters.
Oh,
I
nice.
remember it to this day sitting there because of course I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and I went with my mom and I remember like looking at the big screen and then I think, is that New Line? I forget what it is, but this comes in
Down there.
and then I'm like, man, it was all yeah, the movie's awesome.
Hmm.
Like you said, that's a good way to put it. It has no right to be as good as it is. There's no reason it should be that good, but it
Uh-huh.
is. It is very good. I'm gonna move
And it has.
along. I'm gonna go to another movie. This one's an American one. This is one that is a funny movie, and I think it's also very well done. I don't know. I think we talked about this once. I don't know if you said maybe you didn't see it, but Friday,
Oh, I have not seen it. No.
Ice Cube and Chris Tucker. Yeah, Friday. This movie, I want to say for different it also, I want to say it has no reason to be that. It's better than it should be,
Okay.
given like the plot. I don't know. It's very good. It's funny. It's rewatchable. Ice
Hmm.
Cube, like there was a franchise that came out of this anyway, like Friday, and then you had like next Friday and the Friday after Christmas, something. It's ridiculous,
Right after
and it
Christmas.
gets they get progressively worse, of course,
Of
and
course.
then Ice Cube becomes like he starts acting like he's a gangster. But in this one, it's actually this one's funny, and the whole plot is it takes place on one Friday and it involves marijuana use, so there's that. But it's in I don't know if it's in Compton. Wait, somewhere near South
Downtown.
Central LA, Compton area. So it's got that. The soundtrack's cool if you're into. I mean, it's like Dr. Dre, Ice Cube,
I like that
early
stuff.
'90s West Coast rap is in it. Chris Tucker is really funny in it. Yeah. So Friday, it's hilarious.
Huh.
It's a good one. So there's that.
Oh, yeah. I That's one. I see like memes and little videos come up sometimes. Is that the Bye Felicia movie?
Yeah, bye, Felicia. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard it's funny. I've never gravitated to it. Wasn't sure if I'd like it, but I do like Chris Tucker. Nice Cube's not bad. So yeah, I'll have to give it a watch
Mhm.
sometime.
That's before, by the
Uh,
way, like Chris Tucker got
uh,
progressively more annoying, but it's before. Anyway.
well, he seems like it. I feel like I've enjoyed. the things I've seen him in, but I could see him being very grating too.
Hmm.
Yes. Okay. Next film for me is kind of always my default when I'm talking about the obscure filmmaker Akira Kurosawa. I've watched a couple of his movies, not all of them, but whenever I think about his greatest ones, the one that sticks out the most to me personally is Ron. I just think Ron
Hmm.
is just a
Oh
film
yeah.
that I connected with on some sort of just visceral emotional level. I mean, it's got the King Lear
Hmm.
translation, but of course, in Samurai Times, which I know that he kind of does with some of his stories, a lot of those tropes. And it's pretty much just classic Kurosawa, great operatic, classic theatrical stories. But the two things that stick out the most to it, even though I only saw it once, it's one of those movies that impacted me so much that like I still consider it one of my favorites, and I'd love to go back and watch it sometime. The two things are the I love the minimalist like establishing shots and how you'll have long takes of just dialogue and people conversating against these magnificent backdrops and with these fantastic costumes, vibrant colors, and everything just popped. Everything had this poetic artistry to it, this beautiful movement, almost felt like a visual symphony. And accompanying that, I remember the battles of
Hmm.
just hundreds and hundreds of samurai clashing. And even though he filmed it from a great distance, like a lot of the movie was, you still got this sense of scale to the devastation. So I don't know if it. A lot of people would probably say some of the other films were his best, like Seven Samurai, but for some reason, Ron just really spoke to me. I think I like the tragic figure of the old king that kind of loses everything. I find interesting, but yeah, that Ron's would be my pick.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I've seen it. I think I've only seen it once, but like you said, I think it's my favorite of his films that I've seen. And that's a film where I said this to some, maybe to you or someone at one point. I said you could hit pause at any point in that movie and you have like a portrait that you could hang on your wall.
Exactly.
It's one of the most beautiful movies, if not the most beautiful movie I've ever seen.
Oh,
And
right.
it's
Yeah.
it's gorgeous. You could turn you could turn the sound off and just look at it. There's a couple movies like that, and that's one. If I had the DVD here, I would have brought with me. But like that's an awesome movie. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm gonna go to the next. I'll keep moving here. Let me see where we want to go here. All right, I'm gonna go to another. We talked about this before. I like Russian movies. I actually have three here, so I'm gonna go to my first one, and this one is uh, widely considered by many to be one of the best independent films or whatever. Tarkovsky, Andrei Rublev.
Hmm.
Um, this is I really like Tarkovsky. I think I like Andrei Rublev the best. Andrei Rublev is icon drawer, icon writer is what you call it when you write icons. But
Hmm.
this movie's cinematography is astounding. It's like three stories rolled into one, focused around the character of Andrei Rublev. It had a big impact on other, if you're into Russian movies, you'll see this. It had a huge impact on later Russian film. But it's just everything, cinematography, the angles he uses, sending cameras up into the air on
Hmm.
on balloons, and then some of just the backdrops. It's very stark. It's some very stark use of the land. Russia is huge and stark. Everybody who invaded it has found out. And
Hmm.
it's like the landscape and then just the water that he uses water a lot. I noticed this not only in Andrei Rublev, but in Solaris, other things. He uses water a lot and he uses water in there, both rain and rivers and things like that. And like I said, it's like three like little mini movies rolled into one and it comes back around. I really like it. So Andrei Rublev.
Cool. That mic drop. I see once again it has graced your Criterion
Oh,
collection. The real love
oh,
comes
I
out.
didn't know.
Only the best movies deserve the Criterion love.
Yeah.
Yes. I have never seen Andrei Rublev. But I do remember you talking to me about it. That's one that's definitely on my list. I had another friend who he said he mentioned that before as one of his favorite movies. So I've heard good things about it. I'm kind of diving more into Tarkovsky's stuff more recently, but
Hmm.
he's one of those directors I knew for years that I probably like him and I heard I should watch him, but I just never got around to it, and lately it happened. So it's on my list. Good choice, good choice. The Criterion Love. Let's see, next one. Oh, the next one I have here because I can't have a movie conversation, I guess, without like an anime of some sort. So the one I saw that stuck out to me was 1988's Akira. I think that it is probably one of the I mean, I think it's a great film. I think it's one of the greatest pieces of animation. Just some of the whenever I think about animation, I think about okay, this movie was filmed in the 80s, and just the one of the things I just love about the artistry of Japan and their animation, just the level of detail into the design of the city, of the bikes, of the movements. I love the whole dystopian, far future biker gangs and the government just creating like these secret, superpowered beings, and of course, trying to harness nature, and it goes wrong. Just really classic stuff in the wackiest way. But I love how at the center of this big story, it's just really the conflict between two young men who really just kind of both got pushed around, and one of them goes off the dark path, and another man tries to kind of pull him back. I love it when you have a big story as the backdrop, but really there's a smaller one at the center of it. So and I love how we don't know a whole lot about the world, but so much is just kind of told visually or through backgrounds and little things we see. Just it feels very natural. I think Akira is really good at just creating that truly fleshed out world. So yeah.
Yeah. That is one I've actually never seen the entire thing. I've seen parts of it, and
Hmm.
I'll catch it somewhere. But that's something I should watch. I haven't seen the whole thing through of Akira, so
Hmm.
I can't really comment much on that. But I hear about it I hear about it, so I hear good. I hear things. I heard
Hmm.
things.
Good
So
things.
yeah. Let me go to. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and I got an ace right here.
Uh
So
oh.
no one takes another big one, easy pick. The Shining,
Oh,
Stanley
the shame.
Kubrick. So, yeah, why didn't you just put The Godfather? But anyway, like the Shining,
What a hot take.
when you're yeah, when you're playing cards with somebody and they lay a card that's way too big, like they like pick your you put Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's The Shining.
Boo, safe.
I don't know. I love The Shining, so I saw it. I'm
No,
like, I'm gonna put it in here.
it's good.
I don't need to really talk about it, Stanley Kubrick. It's like it's everybody knows about The Shining, but not
What?
the criteria. It's not the Criterion one.
Oh,
You
oh.
can see it's my wife's from before we got married, but actually,
Oh,
this is one of the movies I have like two or three copies of too. And I actually
nice.
have the documentary. Maybe we could have talked about that. The what is that room three?
Is it shoot. Yeah, the name of the room. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have that one too, but that's see, The Shining's so good. It's like spins off children. Uh,
Well, wait, but what about the TV movie Stephen King?
the piece. No, did you
No,
like
that
that?
one
I don't.
I never bothered to
Yeah,
watch
I
it. I
didn't.
clips looked bad. Looked bad.
No, I'm sorry, Steve. I'm sorry, Steve
Uh,
King.
yeah, Stevie. It's fine. He'll be fine. Yeah, no, great choice. Great choice. Very obscure, risky move there. No, well, don't worry, because
Old
no,
day.
no, hold this. This might be a hot take here, but my next pick, I mean, this might be out of left field, but like Ridley Scott's Alien, I mean, whoa. No, yeah, no. Once again, yeah, pretty safe. You probably have heard of this one, but no, Alien. It even had a recent movie, the 5,000th sequel, spinoff, prequel, whatever, just came out. Might actually watch it. I'm not sure, but yeah, Alien.
What's the newest one, by the way? What's the
Alien
latest?
Romulus.
Yeah, that's right.
Um, yeah, I mean, once kind of like The Shining. I don't think I need to see a whole lot about Alien. Just I love the atmosphere. I love what it did for sci-fi. I love how we've got little characters we don't really know except for their personalities, and the xenomorph is just a really
Hmm.
truly alien, frightening thing. And just when you're talking about fear of the unknown, and it's really scary. It's one of the best horrors and best sci-fi horrors ever made, hands down. don't think I get too much argument there.
No, really good. Really good. Well, you know what? We're doing a service because sometimes, I mean, we do have some younger viewers or some
True.
stupid viewers, so maybe they haven't seen Shining or
Well, no,
Alien.
you're right. You're right. We can't assume. Like that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah,
So
that's
I
true.
got to throw it out there because, I mean, sometimes people hear of it and they never bother, but I mean, you have to watch The Shining or Alien, watch them back to back.
And be never come out of the house. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the xenomorph is iconic. It's like a character that just is it's just a force that eats. It's just a mouth and it's death, but that's an awesome thing. Yeah, yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, let me go. Now here's the one. Yeah, let me go. I'll just go here. This is the one. It's 3-in-1,
okay.
and you'll see why. So this is the trilogy, the quote unquote, the man with no name. Um,
Oh,
Fistful of Dollars for a few dollars more, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. So Sergio Leone. This is what spawned what they called spaghetti westerns. I love these movies. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is one of my favorite movies, and they're all three good. In fact, I just watched for a few dollars more, which I had that was the one I only seen like once before. I'm like, this is really good too, and like what he does is like it's again iconic. Um, Creates a different kind of because before this you had American westerns, maybe like John Wayne types.
not good.
Yeah, like
Sorry, I don't like them.
yeah, like the cowboys, like you have the really, really, really good guy and then the bad guy, or he's just shooting Indians.
Yeah, it's not good.
Eh,
It's really not good.
this guy is like he's a good guy, but kind of not a good guy too. But anyway, it's real. I mean, the music is awesome too. By the way, and I just blanked on it. What's his name? Does the score for these? Yeah,
Ennio
Morricone.
Morricone.
Yeah, yeah, it's freaking awesome. Uh, the bad guy. All these three movies as one. Of course, you have Clint Eastwood, but the different villains that are in here. Um. Oh, and also real quick, yeah, you have Lee Van Cleef is awesome in here. I was trying to look for the name of the guy that's in the first one. He's also really good. Um. Yeah, and by the way, like he's using Italians because he's filming this in Italy. So he's using Italians to play everybody else. And so you're like sometimes it looks a little off. But anyway, really good. And Eli Wallach um plays Tuco in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. He passed away not that long ago, but he's awesome actor in that as well. So The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is one of my favorite ones. But I wanted to include the whole trilogy. Not the Criterion, but the definitive collection of that. Really good. If you haven't seen this, you're watching this, you haven't seen these movies, check them out. You start with a few dollars more, Fistful of Dollars, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, but they all stand on their own. Really good.
I'll just say real quick. There is something about the spaghetti westerns. I just really love that kind of slightly surreal element to it because a lot of things are dubbed over, but it kind of makes it pop, and there's a lot of energy. And yeah, those movies seem to be very ahead of their time, just in terms of the editing,
Hmm.
cinematography, music. Yeah, they're very cool. And I think I may have mentioned this. This is one of the big ones. I confess here, I never have seen The Good and the Bad, the Ugly. I know I need to, but I actually did just watch Fistful of Dollars for the first time like a week or two ago, and I thought it was really good. I was
Yeah.
really awesome. I know it's like remaking Yojimbo famously, which
Yeah.
is like a problem, but so I was like, oh, wait a minute, I've seen this movie riffed off of like dozens of times, like this concept, but I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is like, yeah,
Yeah.
what
Real quick, too, by the way, because we were just talking about Stephen King. For those who are fans and if they've read like The Gunslinger or the Dark Tower series, this was the inspiration for Roland, for the Gunslinger. So this is basically, it's like him with Stephen King's face. It turns out later.
well, author insert happens.
Yeah.
That we should totally do a podcast talking about the Dark Tower sometime.
Oh
I love
yeah,
it.
I love that
It's
one too.
good stuff. Yeah, good. Another good pick. Well, much like you, man, I don't know. Another obscure one that I decided to talk about tonight. Um, Another '80s classic, The Karate Kid. Um, yeah, like I think this is just another one of those movies that I think is quintessentially '80s, but I also aged very well. I love once again just a simple story of kind of the young kid getting picked on, getting bullied. He meets the mentor, your classic hero's journey, and I think Mr. Miyagi might be like my favorite old mentor sage in movies. Like even more than like somebody like Yoda. I just love how I love the whole peaceful element to the martial arts where it is about defense and he's kind of stressing, these lessons to help Daniel learn different things. And he's a father figure to him. And it's just a really heartwarming, good, solid story of kind of good triumphing over evil in the cheesiest way possible. But it's also just bizarre how '80s it is. Like some of the lines, it's so iconic, and
Hmm.
I love the villains. Like if you think about how ridiculous it is, like the this karate dojo they just have this grudge to this death grudge against this poor kid, and the guy their sensei takes it so seriously, and you're like, what's his problem, like, dude, like, what you need to like what is going on,
Yeah,
you need
bro,
to
chill.
go to some therapy or something, like what the heck?
Isn't he a
It's so
Vietnam vet? Isn't
he
he a
is, but
Vietnam
like
vet? He's a kid.
it's just, and I guess that explains it, but it's like, no, this is ridiculous. So yeah, I clearly there's some issues there. No deep seated psychological, but,
Oh
but it's just like it just I love it, man. He's like, if you don't show, it's open season on him, and he's gonna murder them. Like
my god.
what is happening? This is not that. This escalated so quickly.
I know, dude. Like Daniel, just go talk to your mom
Yeah,
when
like
she's home from her crappy job.
like
Tell
no,
her to
like
call the police.
Daniel, call your mom, call the cops, movie over. Like, and then
Uh,
remember when they just like shove him down the hill and he rolls like try to run him off the road with
it
their
is
car,
attempted murder. It's attempted
attempted
murder.
murder, and this movie's going like
Oh,
so.
dude.
So it's so ridiculous, but it's awesome. Another movie that I can pop
Dude.
in and just makes me feel good every time. Classic movie.
Yeah. That's no, that's a good movie. That's The Karate Kid is awesome. That reminds me of when I think of like the 80s movies, that's one of the ones I think of. Another one, not here, but just quickly, is like Back to the Future. So
Oh yeah.
again, like the same. And they're really feel good movies, easy to watch, and then like some questionable things going on inside too. Yeah, that's very good. Uh I got two Russian movies left in memory.
Oh
So
wow.
this one is also um this is by Balabanov. It's called we talked about this. It's called Brother, or in Russian Brat.
Oh, you did say that, yeah.
Um yeah, Alexei Balabanov, who I believe passed away in like 2011, 2012. He's considered by many to be like the Russian Quentin Tarantino. This is a cool movie. And in fact, as of if you're watching this now, as of like 2 days ago, I checked. You can watch it on YouTube. So you can go on YouTube and watch the movie. Um, like maybe Moss Film or something's on there. But anyway,
Hmm.
like yeah, it's a cool movie. They made a sequel where the character comes to the US, and I think we talked about that. They had based the game, one of the Grand Theft Auto games on was inspired by the second one of this. It's a cool movie. You go into it, but yeah, the whatever one with the Russian mob, and yeah, this guy is like goes to Moscow to like uh help his brother, and so that he ends up like fighting with organized crime. But it's cool. It's a good movie. This is one too that I think it's accessible. Americans can watch it, and it's a really cool movie. So that's Brother.
Yeah, yeah, you did mention that one to me, and yeah, I've never seen it. I hadn't heard of it until you mentioned it, but it does sound like it'd be up my alley. Honestly, I think I might enjoy checking that one out. Yeah, brother. Let's see what. Oh, Yeah, you're beating me, I think, with the more obscure ones. This one is also, I will say, all right, to be fair, you have some ones that are a little more obscure, but I actually have so far like three foreign movies. I had an anime, I
Hmm.
had a Kurosawa movie, and the other movie I'm talking about involves another unknown character, I suppose, the big lizard, Godzilla,
Oh yeah.
1954, or Gojira, as it is originally known. Yeah, yeah. Just recently had a Godzilla night, just with some friends came over and we just kind of riffed on them. But yeah, Godzilla movies are such a big part of my childhood and just my formative years. I just really always, once again, we're kind of seeing some themes here. I love the nitty gritty love of creating a story where you don't have a huge budget, but you have to elevate things, even though it's like mostly models and these guys in the big rubber costumes. And the Godzilla movies get so silly, but you go back to that original film and it's just masterful. The music is excellent. The story is really dark. Talk really just kind of as this commentary on the destruction of the bomb and in Japan and all the radiation and the fear of nuclear war and devastation, and how Godzilla is such a natural force that represents that corrupted. And really just if you look at the lighting and the matter of perspective, where when they're filming and they're shooting up from above, the models like Godzilla looks really imposing and terrifying in that first movie, and we still always kind of come back to that, and it scared me as a kid and it always stuck with me. And yeah, I think Godzilla is by far, at least in terms of the traditional ones, my favorite monster movie. I think it's just a powerful story and kind of a tragedy, with how the monster is killed by the
Hmm.
scientist at the end. I think there's a lot of self-sacrifice there, and there's kind of a love story in there. There's a little bit of everything. Godzilla Gojira, is a great movie.
Yeah, really good. I think we talked about that before. Like growing up, my dad loved Godzilla movies, so that one, and then like he had a bunch of them. So yeah, I really like Godzilla. And you're right, it's frightening. Um, Later on, it gets a little campy sometimes with some of those, but it's scary. He's a monster, and it's yeah, I agree with you about Godzilla. The next one I'm going to talk about here. So I got two left, and then I have an honorable mention. Maybe I don't know,
Oh
whatever.
shoot.
So this one is well, I wanted. I was. It's also Russian, but the reason I don't know. I like it so much. I like it so much, and I'll tell you why.
Hmm.
One of my favorite authors is Dostoevsky.
Hmm.
And probably my favorite book. Is probably Brothers Karamazov. And so this is a mini series made in Russia. You can get it on Amazon. So if you like Brothers Karamazov, this is the one to get because this is awesome. It's like I keep saying that like I'm selling it, but it is. It's multiple parts. If you've read the book, it's true to it's so hard to find a mini series or a movie that is so true to like a great piece of literature. It doesn't
Hmm.
try to do anything weird with it. It just does it just good actors. They're Russian actors. So if you're in the Russian film like I am, some of these you'll see from different. But anyway, really, it's awesome. So even if you don't, it's got the subtitles. But if you like Karamazov Brothers Karamazov, you like Dostoevsky, and it's a multi-parter. So I forget how much I paid on Amazon. It's pretty cheap, and it's like you got like many hours of enjoyment. I just wanted to show this because like I like miniseries when they're done well. I like those. I made for TV movies are cool when they're done well. That would be another thing to talk about another time. Some made for TV movies or miniseries as well. And
Hmm.
this is a good example. Now, it's Russian, but it's one of my favorite. There you go.
Cool. Yeah, another one I didn't know about. I think I read it a long time ago. I'm not sure if I read the whole thing or just an excerpt, to be honest, but I'll have to check it out. That's another one to read. I
Yeah.
got a long
Real
book
quick,
list
if
too.
someone's interested in that, make sure you get the Yuri Morozov version. That's it, Morozov. So it's good. Yeah, really good.
Cool. Let's see. Another one is kind of related to something pretty well known, but maybe the specific pick might be surprising to some people. I think it is. As you may know, I'm a Star Trek fan, so I have to talk about Star Trek movies. For the most part, I do believe the original series movies are the better ones. I mean, some people, my wife loves Next Generation more than the original series. I think I grew up with those more, and my dad and my mom loved them. So I kind of have a soft spot for the old TOS and the campiness. But I think that most of the movies, well, at least half of them, are excellent. That whole thing. But my favorite Star Trek movie is actually Star Trek Six: The Undiscovered Country.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, I've always liked that one. Mostly, well, for one thing, it has a lot of cool Klingon stuff. It's kind of a political thriller mystery, which I think is pretty fun. And it's also one I really enjoy because it deals with, accepting change and fear
Mm-hmm.
of change, fear of the future. And there's this whole arc throughout the films where Kirk is dealing with getting older and learning about forgiveness and kind of pushing past the things with the Klingons. And they're just the capers with him and Dr. McCoy on the frozen prison planet with McCoy complaining the whole time. It's just good adventure. So if I had to pick one Star Trek film to sum up my love for Star Trek, it's still number six.
Yeah. You know what? I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh,
I don't
well.
I don't believe I have. I like Star Trek. So yeah, I'm down with you. I grew up. My dad really liked. We talked about this before. My dad really liked Next Generation.
Hmm.
So I really like that series. But I'll have to check that one. I know I've seen several of the Star Trek movies, but I don't think I've seen that one.
Okay. It's
So
got Christopher Plummer in it as the Klingon with the eye patch.
you doesn't ring a bell. Klingon.
Oh, well, if that didn't, then you probably haven't seen
Yeah, I
it.
don't think I have. No, I had to check that one out. Is that one? Do I have to have seen? I don't have to see like something before
it,
that.
it stands alone pretty well, but it works better if you've seen some of the previous ones because it kind of wraps up like Star Trek 3 and
Okay.
watch like Star Trek 3 at the very least.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Here I'm gonna go with. So this one, good movie, Quentin Tarantino, but not the one people usually think. So I'm gonna go
Oh,
with Jackie Brown. Um,
oh,
I
yeah.
think. Yeah, I was talking to my wife just before, earlier tonight. I told her what I was doing, and she's like, "Did you pick Jackie Brown?" Because she knows I really like Jackie Brown. Pulp Fiction's a great movie. So I don't know if Jackie Brown I would say it's a better film, but I personally think I like it better. Pam Grier's awesome in it. The whole thing. Um, it's based on a novel, I think called Rum Punch, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
And Samuel L. Jackson's awesome in it. Um, yeah, it's just yeah, it's also got Robert De Niro and Michael Keaton. It's kind of funny, the Michael Keaton playing Michael Keaton. He's just Michael Keaton in that movie. But
Basic.
it's got an awesome soundtrack. Got like a soul soundtrack, which is really cool. And it's just like a kind of like a crime thriller mystery, or they put it's one of those ones. What do you call that, Joe, where you get there's a name for it, where like
A caper?
it's like a caper. Yeah, the protagonist like everything comes together in the end.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's like a double call. Yeah, it's caper, like Cloak and
Yeah, this is
Dagger.
a caper
Yeah.
movie. Yeah, it's a caper movie. Yeah, that's a good thing. Awesome, awesome movie. Jackie Brown, awesome soundtrack. Um, very cool dialogue. And it's a good movie, really good movie. So that's the one. I said I should probably include like a Tarantino. I had a Scorsese, include a Tarantino. I had some good, and so this is my representative for Quentin Tarantino.
Boo.
So
No, no. Great pick, Brad. That's funny. No, we're getting ideas here. Could totally do a Tarantino video for sure. When it comes to Tarantino, it's always tough for me because I feel like I've always got like three or four movies that revolve around which is my favorite. But usually it's funny. The one that I typically go to is Jackie Brown.
oh yeah.
Like so it's funny you really brought that because that was on my short list of things
Oh
to talk
really?
about.
That's cool.
It really was. It was like it might even be higher up, so that might tell you how much I like it.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, Jackie Brown is great. I think it's probably the most underrated Tarantino movie
Oh
for sure.
yeah, it is.
Just
Yeah, I believe so.
really good, very restrained for him. But yeah, great pick, great movie. Might be my favorite Tarantino, so I'm down for that pick. And yeah, well, my last one I'm talking about tonight is another big shocker here. But if I have to pick one from the trilogy, I pick Fellowship of the Ring
Mm.
from Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. I just could cheat. I could cheat and just put the whole trilogy on, which
Hey, I did it. I threw a trilogy,
yeah.
so
All right. Well, then I'll just say Lord of the Rings. But specifically that first movie, I just think is such an excellent beginning to this epic fantasy. I love Lord of the Rings, the Peter Jackson movie specifically for reasons that people probably already know, so don't have to go into it too much. But I truly love Lord of the Rings, just among some of my favorite
yeah.
films. It's Lord of the Rings, man. Like
Yeah, no, I agree. It's that trilogy, but that movie starting things off because growing up, I was one of those like I got really into Tolkien. I got really into that whole mythos and like reading the Silmarillion and when I remember hearing about that movie being made and I was like, "Oh crap, they're gonna ruin." I didn't want it to happen, kind of. I was one of those like people were like, "Oh, cool." And I'm like, "No, they're gonna screw it up." I don't know. And they didn't. And it's really well done. And hats off to him. But yeah, that's awesome. Not so much The Hobbit in my opinion, but
no, The
I
Hobbit.
did not like The Hobbit, but
The Hobbit is one that I don't know if I'm a Hobbit apologist. Like I don't hate them as much as some people do. It's not Lord of the Rings, but then again, The Hobbit is also not the Lord of the Rings even
yeah,
a
you're
little
right.
bit
But
more. So it's kind of like no, it's not. It never was going to be quite that. Um, but that's a conversation for another time.
yeah.
I will say when it comes to The Hobbit, for me, it also peaks in the first movie because that I feel like they drew out the smog stuff so much. I love the classic D&D stuff where you just got the party underground with the goblins and having to fight their way out with the Goblin King. I always thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like speaking of well, since we're on that topic, I really like the animation, the animated Hobbit. The Rankin what is that? The Rankin
Breaking Bad.
Bass. Yeah. That
Yeah.
those are cool. I like that. And they did a Lord of the Rings. I don't think it was him. Was it him or there was the
Did
Lord of the
you
Rings animated?
did you see the Ralph Bakshi? There's that one you're talking about, the
That's
animated
the
movie?
one. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
I like that one too. That's a trippy movie.
Is that the one I'm thinking of? Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lord of the Rings definitely. Um yeah. So that's it. I wanted to quickly here at the end give a shout out. Um one movie I had to bring on. So you borrowed it from me and watched it, but this is my brother will set one if you ever talk to my brother, you met my brother, right? Yeah.
I think
He'll
so. Yeah.
I think
I
he
think
did
this
once.
summer. Yeah.
He if you
Briefly.
ask him what his favorite movie is, he'll tell you American movie. And so I
Oh.
wanted to bring that out here. So a lot of people have seen it. It's a documentary.
Oh.
Mark Borchardt, um, and so Mike Shank, who by the way, rest in peace, has passed away. But
Oh.
Mark Borchardt, if they haven't seen it, it's a movie about a guy making a movie, and he's a unique character, and it's
Colvin.
hilarious, but it's real, and dude, it's cool. Like he's and Mark Borchardt's still around. So if you're out there, if you want to look up, there's some like, very recent podcasts with him talking. He's a very interesting guy, like very creative. To this day, he still like writes a lot and is making films. He's mostly in the horror. You got Corvin and all that stuff. Anyway, so
Colvin.
I wanted to throw that in case my brother watches this.
No.
But anyway, I do. American movie's awesome. You know. And let me
Uh,
say real quick, Joe. I'm sorry, just one more thing. I'm rambling on here. I despise the fact that I brought this up earlier, but you can no longer go to like a Blockbuster video or something. Those things don't exist because it was because of a Blockbuster video that I first found this. Because I
uh,
would go in there and they would have the interesting section. I forget what it is even called. They had foreign film and then like independent.
special
Yeah,
special
like the special. And I would go right there because they would have cool movies I would otherwise probably not hear about. And sometimes the staff who worked there like knew about movies. And now you're just like control like corporate entity tell you what movies to watch,
hmm
and half of it's garbage. But anyway, there's an American movie. I just wanted to throw that in because I got the DVD and it's right here.
No, that's a great one. I'm glad you let me borrow that. That was really good. It kind of reminded me of some of my adventures trying to make some of my own movies. Some of it seemed very familiar. You're right. The renting from Blockbuster and stuff like that. There's a human element of
Yeah.
people's recommendations. You kind of miss out with all the online streaming and stuff and what the algorithms recommend and whatnot for sure. It's almost too catered to your own tastes, and you sometimes are limited. That is true.
It's like echo chamber for movies, and that's a problem.
No, I agree. I will say, well, I'll give a quick shout out just because I'm going to hold you to it. I let you borrow a movie as well, which you still haven't
I have
watched
it.
yet.
I have it. I just looked.
So I'm going to briefly spotlight The Hidden because I think it is a great underrated film. Somebody pointed out to me with Kyle MacLachlan. There's like aliens possessing people, and there's all kinds of like ridiculous violence. It's a pretty good like horror sci-fi from the '80s cult classic. I recommend. Right, you'll have to come over and watch it on my Blu-ray player.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
what
I
I have to do.
apologize. So for those, I've had
I'm just messing.
I've had it for like a year now because the blue I anyway, it's a long Blu-ray story that I don't have a Blu-ray that works, and
Uh,
so I'll bring you it back, and then I'll we can come to your house sometime and watch it. Yeah.
sounds good. Sounds good. Because I do want you to see it. I do think you'll like it.
Yeah. So I like this format was kind of cool, like talking about it, because as we were talking, I thought of like another. I could think of another batch of like movies, like so maybe we could do something more like this in the future at a different time, like you know, maybe from certain decade or certain kind of
Oh
genre.
yeah. No, I
Yeah,
kind of like this format we're coming up with. And people let us know what you think of like lists of different types of movies, directors, writers, genres, whatever. That'd be cool. And
definitely.
of course, if people want us to review certain movies, leave us suggestions, and maybe we could do it. And we got a short list. We can like tackle a couple movies. We had a list from last year we can check out too.
Cool. So that's it. Any parting words?
My parting words are thank you, people, for listening, watching, and we will attempt to record and put out something in the not too distant future.
Yes, that's true. All right. Thanks, Joe. Thank you for everybody for watching, and we are the Movie Minds crew signing off. Thank you.